Good morning. Welcome to the TGIF edition of Good Morning Anambra. My name is Chidimma Oranwa. We're starting with a series on the national dailies and also ABS website. But we'll start in earnest after this short break. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back to the show this morning. We have with us Ejike Abata. He's a public affairs analyst as one of our reviewers this morning. Ejike, good morning.
Good morning.
We also have Sir Jerry Obodo. Sir Jerry is a public affairs analyst. Good morning.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, Danamba.
All right, quickly, let's bring what we have on ABS website this morning. More Anambra affirms Soludo is on course for efficient service delivery. Anambra State Government to upgrade, expand Ibuku Museum. Over 100 persons benefit from Anyego Foundation's free medical program at Ihala. 2023, INEC finalized plans ahead of polls. Okay, Ejike. Let's start with the first one, talking about more commendation and people affirming that their faith in service delivery that is being portrayed by the governor of Anambra State.
It's too early for me, but as Indian Anambra, we're only hopeful and looking forward to a turnaround in the fortunes of the state's infrastructure and otherwise, especially security, because we cannot progress in an atmosphere of insecurity. Lives have been lost and people are scared such that even with the reassurances from the governor, people still don't go about most people don't go about their businesses on Mondays. So let's hope things will turn around for good.
All right, Sir Jerry.
Yeah, it's like you rightly pointed out, you can't, judge what is done yet. He has done some there, some here and there. For instance, the tackling of the problem of Sakamori at Buko Onitsha, marking of some illegal houses that were built on canals and drainage systems for demolition. It shows he has a lever, because one can still remember the Ogumba flood disaster. Such things could happen, because if it's not checked, those things will cause problem. And some other areas, we still hope that it gets better. And the security aspect, we should deploy all tactics to put it on check so that people will not live in fear anymore.
Okay, let's also look at the other story there, talking about the upgrade of Ibuku Museum. How would that be of great benefit to the Anambra?
It sure will. It's one of the museums we have in Anambra. There are other ones in Nri as well. That upgrade, it's a national museum, and it needs every attention it can get. I must tell you, it should be one of our generation earners if properly put to good use. The road leading to that museum is not in good shape, and there are touches here and there that is needed. So if we're able to boost that museum, then increase its publicity, attract people, let people come and see what the artifacts we have there. It will improve Anambra economy. So whatever that needs to be done to improve that museum is what we should do.
Yeah, I think you know, we have been on a continuous talking point, but little is being done in that direction. Now that our man Don Oyenji is there, we see him. We want to see him hitting the ground running. You know, we've been discussing. We've been on programs here, and now that he's given the opportunity, we want to see a difference from what has been done before now. You know, some of these things are international tourist attraction, if put in proper perspective. So we wish that you propose everything to the governor so that it will be actualized. Thank you.
All right, quickly, let's go over to our very first paper under review this morning, and that is the Daily Sun newspaper. Daily Sun, the big story in front of the Daily Sun: PDP not consensus move suffers setback. Ango Abdahi panel reportedly settles for Saraki. Tambuwal teams up with Wike. Military recovers 517 weapons from bandits in Plateau, Kaduna and Bauchi. Nigeria's economy bleeding over high level of corruption at Seaport, ICPC. Bandits attack NSA, indicts El Rufai. PDP assents sale of forms, mocks APC over price of nomination forms. Alleged drug trafficking, Nigeria seeks extradition of Colombian citizen to US. 2023, insecurity may not allow INEC deliver desired elections, Yakubu wants.
2023, prior to elections, we always have these threats. If you remember, US once said Nigeria will cease to exist after the elections, and these are sad stories that we keep hearing. But as the Nigerians that we are, we always scale through. Of course, we know where these problems are coming from. Unfortunately, those in power, those in authority have refused to do the needful. But let's hope this time around the elections will come and go, and hopefully, we as Nigerians, we as the electorate, will be able to elect people who will put an end, if not completely, but to an extent, to the problems we are having in the country. They are man-made. Our problems are not from out of space. They are man-made problems. So we wish the best to all the aspirants.
All right. So Jerry, let's look at that statement from ICPC that Nigeria's economy is bleeding over high rate or high level of corruption at seaports.
Yeah, before they made such statements, they've done a lot of, research and homeworks to come up with such a, and it's not out of, what has been credited to Nigeria as a fantastically corrupt nation, and so many ratings on the low side for Nigeria. So, one we hope that people will start changing for the better, moving away from the bad impressions the world have about Nigeria to, a better side, trying to resist all the corrupt tendencies, So that's what I can say about that.
All right, let's say go over to the next newspaper this morning. That is the Daily Trust newspaper. In front of the Daily Trust, 43 days to INEC deadline, APC, PDP in hide and seek over zoning. Game normal in politics, but they judge. Opposition parties' decision will determine ours, ruling party chieftain. CBN gives conditions for exchange rate review. AMCON's NG Eagle yet to fly 4 years after records 20 billion losses. No hard slot for Rivers, Bayelsa, Imo, Akwa Ibom as fare hit 2.5 million naira. Aisha Buhari to host presidential aspirants tomorrow says don't come with phone. Insecurity, 2023 elections will hold as scheduled. Yakubu. Security agencies underperforming. This is coming from the president.
Security underperforming. Much has been spent on our security agencies. So much has been spent. Unfortunately, the amount that is being bandied on the media, it's not the same amount that has been received by those who are supposed to get the money and put to good use, as has been reviewed over time. But even with the amount that is being spent, or that has been spent, there's very little to show for it. And it seems they are having a kind of sabotage within themselves. If not, this issue of insecurity ought to have stopped a long time ago. How be it that we spend the money, military operatives decide to go on an operation and then they are ambushed on their way. These are not things we should be hearing. They want to go and then bombard a particular area. When they get there, they don't find the bandits, they don't find the terrorists there. So there is a sabotage amongst themselves, and except such is put to an end, I don't see them winning this battle. So the blame is not necessarily for the military. Yes, they are underperforming, as the president has said, but he also has his own fair share of the blame. He's the commander-in-chief, so if they are underperforming, he should do something about it. So it's not necessarily their 100% the blame of the security agencies, but as the CNC should also take drastic steps. It should take actions to review, where need be, the security architecture.
Okay. You want to add to that, Sir Jerry?
Yeah, what I think is that, a lot of people have said that this present government have lost ideas on how to tackle insecurity, and I tend to agree with them. And another side of the story is that they even refuse to listen to the voices of reasonings. For instance, we have, and a lot of people have mooted the idea of, state police, restructuring and all that. Those things are things that are necessary to bring this insecurity, to some barest minimum. But the present government refused to hearken to the voices of the reasons of the people. So we're only waiting for the time to go, so that maybe by the grace of God, another government we come up with new ideas and how to approach this matter.
Well, talking about another government, do you also believe with just what Yakubu said, that despite the security challenges, that we are still going to have election free and fair and as scheduled?
Yeah, the INEC has come up with the budget and has come up with their programs. I believe God that the election will come and go. We do the election and the new government will come on board.
All right. The next paper this morning is the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper with the big story in front of it. Insecurity. Obasanjo orders insist on state police as Buhari tax service chiefs. Terrorists kill escort. 20 others abduct pastor in Yobe and Plateau. Kogi confirmed 41 Lassa fever cases. 7 deaths. Mixed reactions trail First Lady's invitation to presidential aspirants. Nigeria would float Naira. Emefiele tells IMF and World Bank. We have there from the human angle side, husband kills wife, rips her tummy in Jos. And other stories we have in front of the Guardian newspaper, but these are the major ones. Let's start with the big one, talking about, so we're still on insecurity. Now the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, and others, they are saying that probably one of the solutions to this is instituting state police.
Yes, I was one of those before now who said if we get state police, it will be mismanaged by the governors. But given what's on ground and how we've been able to run a quasi-security system in the southeast using the Vigilante Association, I think it is high time we institute one. Let's start securing ourselves from our clans, from the grassroots, from our background, from our backyards, before waiting for the federal police to come. It's high time we begin to protect ourselves from, even without waiting for governors or the National Assembly to pass the bill for state police. It's high time we started protecting ourselves, and that is what one thing Anambra especially has been able to do over the years, and it has worked for us. So if we're able to get state police, it will go a long way in stemming that tide of insecurity. These are people who know those within the community. If there's somebody an infiltrator, will be able to say, okay, this person is not one of us, find out what that person is doing in that area at that particular time. It does not impede movement of people. No, it doesn't. But it will make people be on at alert to able to pinpoint intruders in the community.
Hello. Okay, go ahead. Now your former fear talking about the governors.
Yeah.
So how do we also
I compared to what it was before, people are, as it concerns governance today, people are now aware, people are interested compared to what it used to be. People are interested now in what's happening to them in terms of governance, and also, there's also the citizen journalism that has given people the opportunity to speak out. Immediately they find out, they see something, they are quick to say it. So governors will be on their toes now. It's not as if they won't do wrong. It's not as if they'll be perfect with it. No, but compared to what they would have been able to do in the past, they will be on their toes now, knowing that everybody's eyes is on them.
All right. Do you have a different opinion on that?
No, what is not.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your own reaction about the invitation by the First Lady for all the aspirants? Because from what we see here in front of the Guardian, it's also in the other paper we read earlier. Now in front of the Guardian, it said mixed reactions through First Lady's invitation to presidential aspirants. So what's your own reaction?
That's for APC, yes. APC aspirants. Well, you know, I cannot fathom out her reasons for that, but you know, it's good to you know, make friends and chat with aspirants. But we only believe that the best will come out of what she's you know, calling them for. We still believe that there's no room for imposition of candidates, and if that is done, the party will go under. So people are wiser now than before. So that's my take on that.
Okay, next paper this morning is the Leadership newspaper. We need state police to tackle security challenges. This is coming from Obasanjo. We just talked about it. As PMB orders security chiefs to rescue all abducted Nigerians, ask them to sit up. We won't shift 2023 elections over insecurity. This is coming from INEC. That is in front of the Leadership newspaper this morning. Strike, ACF offers to mediate in federal government ASU dispute. Aisha Buhari, host presidential aspirant to IFTA bars use of phones. Flood, FCTA demolishes 400 houses in Gwarimpa. All right, and then we can see their autonomy. Local government areas are not governors' pots of soup. And that's what we have in front of the Leadership newspaper this morning.
Local governments are not spot of soup, but that is what it is or what it seems. Some governors who didn't make use of the local government made good impact in their states, while some others use the local government as an avenue to amass wealth for themselves. They couldn't account for the money accruing to the local government, and yet the local government themselves didn't get the money. If we are truly running a democratic system of government where there is a federal, state, and local government, then everything should be put in place. I think it's very unfair for state governments to deny people of a state the chance of interacting with government at the local level or local government level. Whatever you are getting from the federal government that is accruing to you as a governor should be made use for the betterment of the state. Give to the local governments what the money accruing to them, so that we will know who to hold accountable. Now local governments cannot go to any local government chairman and begin to demand for accountability where there have been no election in a local government, there's no chairman. What we have transition chairmen that have been appointed. Of course, they are cronies of the state government or the state governor who appoints them at will. So you can't go to them to demand for accountability. You have to go to the governor. You know, meeting the governor is not that easy. But if it were at the local government level, you can walk into a local government chairman's office and say, I'm from so-and-so community, and we've not had this for a long time. What is happening? And even if you don't get answers, but you will be able to get access to him. That is the idea behind having the local government. But we've been denied that over the years, and it doesn't speak well of us. So, and the ICPC, EFCC have not done enough in tackling governors who do not have local government chairmen or local government election in their states, because that is where most of them amass this monies that they flaunt. Now, APC has released their nomination form for 100 million, and there are governors who have not paid salaries for over the months, and they are gearing up to go and buy this form for 100 million. It doesn't sound good.
The governors 50 million. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What's your name?
Hello. My name is Comrade Martin from Niger State.
Martin from Niger State. You're welcome.
And I want to comment briefly on the issue of this insecurity. And I want to say that without looking inward, because there is a saying in Yoruba, if there is no conniver, there is no way a fire will fly over a river. It is because we have so much corruption everywhere in the country. Everybody is after money. So there are saboteurs in the military, in our forces, and that is why we find it very difficult. And let us see the way our recruitment has been done. Where I've not seen categorically that we hear that without being bread, you cannot get recruited. So there are connivers, there are saboteurs, and there are insiders that are giving information. They have informants, all these are good. Next you, the money they are collecting all these days from the kidnappers, where are they keeping it? Is it in the bushes?
Okay.
So that's to say there are some people that are behind all this wahala. So God will help us on the issue of the university lecturer scholarship between the federal government, people they should cross over the 8 years. All the years should come to the age of our education. If not, we are not going to get it right because we are appreciating it again that we are only producing on paper or done graduates that cannot even defend anything. So thank you, that's my little contribution this morning.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for calling. Still talking about the strike.
Okay, sir, before that.
Okay.
We, on a local government issue, I want to say that what is in place now is an aberration. If you say you have 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government, and the local government is not running, it's an aberration. So I urge all the states to quickly conduct local government elections if they don't have them in place now. Conduct local government elections and give them the autonomy to run the local government. Give account of the funds that is coming in from the federation account. So we hold them responsible for whatever thing that happens there. The ICPC is there, EFCC is there. Let them, monitor them like they monitor the state governors and state and federal. Yep.
Okay. The next paper this morning is the Vanguard newspaper. Insecurity, no stopping 2023 elections, INEC. And then we have up there, insecurity, state police now a better option, says Obasanjo. Boko Haram kills 9 at Bar, raises technical school in Yobe. Nigeria's debt hit 44% of GDP in 5 years. Chrisland sex video, reflection of moral wrath in society, say school owners. ASU strike, ACF offers to mediate between lecturers and government. And then we still have down there 2023 APC PDP in verbal war over cost of nomination forms. Osinachi, justice will be served, Khan assures.
We ought not to wait for a celebrity to die or to be killed before we begin to take actions. There are other persons who have died before Osinachi, and little or nothing were ahead of them, and now Khan is speaking of probably because she was a singer in the church. But that aside, let me comment on the child sex video. There have been blames going around from parents to the school, from the school back to the parents. For me, I think the problem, the blame should be heaped on the parents. That's where these are the foundation. The parents are first teachers. So you just like a man in the community is insane, the next thing you hear is kanoli angwanya. Like the woman is a medical doctor or a spiritualist that will take care of the man or that will heal the. It's the same thing we are having here. A child is misbehaves, is ill-mannered, and you put the blame on the teacher. The teacher spends less time with the pupil or with the child compared to how much time the child spends with the parents. So what within the time the child spends with the parents, what have you been teaching your parents? Back then when we come back from school, we ask what did you learn in school and who did you talk to? Those things no longer happen today because gadgets have taken the place.
You also remember that most of these schools are boarding schools now.
They are boarding schools now. That's why it's not as if the school have their own share of the blame, while the parents have their own share of the blame. But before going to boarding school, yes, before going to boarding, what manner of child did you hand over to the school? That's why it starts from a very tender age. And let's also remember that children, they tend to learn very fast. So whatever they see you doing, they are fast to pick it up. So before going to board, what manner of children or child do you hand over to the school? So if you brought a child that is ill-mannered already, there are chances that the teachers or the school will take up from there.
You also believe that the well-mannered children can also be corrupt in school by the ill-mannered ones?
That happens. That is where the blame should come from the part of the school. Because you are, as an institution, you are meant to be able to look at students. That's why they have training. That's why we have schools of education. Every Tom, Dick and Harry shouldn't just go into being a teacher. No, there are things you look out for in a pupil, and you're able to say, okay, this is what this person will tend to become. So teachers should be able to sit back and monitor pupils in their care and be able to find out when there's a problem, and you raise the alarm on time.
All right. Sir Jerry, let's look at this ASUU strike issue that ACF, they want to wait in now to see if they can reconcile that differences between the lecturers and the government.
Yeah, you know, it's welcomed. Any move that can, you know, make both parties to reconcile is welcome. We have been on this for you know, a number of occasions, and it has hampered the normal academic programs of the schools. Nobody is happy about the development at all. You know, we have on this studio severally talked about the ASUU strike. You know, now and then, those that will graduate in 4 years graduate in 8 years or 10 years even. So it's not a welcome development at all. I have, you know, mooted the idea, you know, to the ASUU people and to the federal government. You have to, you know, come to a middle level and agree. The ASUU itself, I have said here that they are not the employers, they are employees of the federal government. So they should not dictate to the federal government the mode they have to use to pay. Then on the part of the federal government, let all the entitlements of the ASUU people be paid to them, and also to see if they can, you know, raise up the allocation of the education sector. You know, it's recommended of about 26%, but they are still below 10% or 10%. So let them increase so that the schools will look like universities, not a glorified secondary school. You see our people rushing to even Cotonou, Ghana there, you know. So it's not a good thing at all.
All right, let's move over to Delhi Independent newspaper this morning. Insecurity, state police now a better option. Obasanjo. Buhari asks security agencies to rescue abducted victims. And then we have terrorist attack Yobe Town, Q22 and burned schools. IGP decries attack on police facilities in Southeast, rejigs operation. We will conduct a 2023 election despite insecurity. And then down there we can still see that story on Lassa fever claiming 7% in Kogi State.
And this story of Nigerians getting mad, according to Red Cross, it's a reflection.
Mental health.
Yes, it's a reflection of what the youths are doing to themselves, and these are things that have gone on for a very long time. We are beginning to see the results today. It still falls back to the kind of upbringing children have from their parents.
Let's hold your thought there. Let's know who's here. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello? Good morning. Hello?
Tell us your name and your location, please. All right, go ahead.
So it's a reflection of the kind of upbringing. We have children as young as 15 years who take alcoholic drinks. We have children as young as 15 years who take marijuana, who take codeine and SK and all of that. And now we are beginning to see the results today. So the level at which the increase in mental health, it's prevalent among the youths today. In the past, you hardly see a child who is mentally deranged. You hardly see one. But today, that is not the case. If you walk the streets of the state and other parts of the country, you see youths who are supposed to be the ones propelling the economy of the country, mentally insane because they've taken abuse of substance, even cough syrup and all of that. So it's a really big challenge for us.
All right.
Yeah, I want to talk on this. It has appeared in several papers. This issue of payment for the aspirants on both parties of APC and PDP. For APC, it's 100 million. For PDP, it's 50 million. I think this will encourage godfatherism that we have almost reduced to barest minimum. This is very, very on the high side, and this also breeds corruption. People will always want to cut corners, do all manner of things in order to make the money. And also this will make it impossible for even the youths that we want to come into leadership.
Now, another school of thought said that if they make it, if they bring it down so much that it will make everyone just to come, they will have like up to 1 million people coming down to come and buy the form, to purchase the form.
What's the democracy all about? People is making people come in and express their leadership qualities. And that will also bring in the youths, as we say, not too young to wrong people. How many youths can come in with this? So I'm still on the opinion that it's very outrageous. It's very, very on the high side. It can bring in this godfatherism. And I also will urge the National Assembly, though they are the same people, to come up with the idea of independent candidacy, so that people can come up and, vie without even the parties.
All right. Let's take the two last papers we have this morning together. That's The Nation and The Punch newspaper. Let's start with The Nation. Buhari orders rescue of hostages with kidnappers. PDP, APC clash over 100 million naira nomination fee. Boko Haram kills 12 and razes school buildings. And then we still have there, US OK's drop bus service for Nigerian students. Those are the things we have in front of The Nation. Quickly, let's move over to The Punch newspaper. INEC to spend 239 billion naira on poll materials, presidential runoff. High food prices will continue in Nigeria, orders till 2023, IMF. PDP extends sale of forms, fourth time. Woods APC chieftains. And then reps allege cover-up on refineries and summon Silva and Kiari and also others. Amoteku nabs a human trafficker with 4 girls aboard Ghanaian person. And also excuse on Dariye Nyame's pardon lame. CSOs tackles presidency.
I still want to talk about the nomination forms for APC and PDP. Quickly, if you look at people who will purchase that form for APC at 100 million naira, none of them are businessmen. All of them would have been in government. So that goes to tell you that you just know where they are getting the money from. You won't find a businessman who has never been a politician come in to buy a form at 100 million. Every person who will buy that form is either a former governor, a former minister,
Yes.
so you already know where they are getting that money from.
They benefited from the government.
It doesn't make sense at all. Pegging at 100, if they are saying it's a way of reducing the number of persons that would come to buy the form, then why do we have screening committees? If 100 million people or 100 people purchases the form, you screen those. Not everybody would even qualify. Yes. Even if you qualify, then why do we have primary election? Conduct primary and then one person will emerge finally. So it's just like Labour telling government increase salaries, government increase salaries, and then the next 2 months there is 100% increase in the cost of goods and commodities. This is something that is almost playing out. Youths have said, okay, give us, allow us to run. The bill has been passed, and now you are pegging the price of buying form at 100 million naira. It's insane. It doesn't make sense at all. Even at 50 million, it's still very expensive.
Yes.
It's still very expensive.
All right, on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you, Ejike Agbata, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
And also to you, Sir Jerry Obodo. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
It's my honor.
All right, that's it on Press Review this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going on a short break. We'll soon be back. Stay with us.
himself. And today on the episode, I'm going to be teaching our teenagers on how to make an exciting drink, which is Zobo. And the ingredients we'll be making use of includes the hibiscus flower leaf, which is also known as the Zobo leaf. We'll be making use of the pineapple, we'll be making use of the garlic, we'll be making use of the ginger. And to top it all, we'll be making use of the flavoring. Here I have with me 3 types of flavor. I have the pineapple flavor, the strawberry flavor, and also have the vanilla flavor. It includes the hibiscus flower leaf, where the Zobo gets its red coloring from. It is also called the Zobo leaf. I said we'll be making use of the garlic and the ginger. We'll be making use of pineapple and some other flavoring ingredients. Here in my blender, I have a mixture of the garlic and ginger being blended already. So let's go into the process properly. The first step to make a Zobo is to wash your hibiscus flower leaf. I have here some water. And if you note, right to my left side, I have my pot on the stove already with some water, which contains a bit of Zobo already boiling. So I'm adding this to it. You just rinse. The essence of rinsing is just to remove the dirt, which includes sand, particles and stuff. But I made sure I've washed this thoroughly before putting this in. That goes in. Then I had a blended mix of garlic and ginger. That's where the spiciness of these drinks comes from. It comes from the ginger, which I had to heat. Then next, I had my pineapple in chunks. I just cut it in chunks. The essence of the pineapple is to give it a natural taste of pineapple flavor, and it infuses the juice, the sweetness into the drinks. I'll cut it into chunks. And that goes into the pot. In case you need to know, a Zobo drink is actually tradition to Nigeria, and it's mostly taken in the northern part of Nigeria actually. So I'm adding my flavor to it. That's the pineapple. And be sure to make sure that it doesn't overpower the drink, so that it doesn't end up tasting like a pineapple drink instead of the normal flavor of the hibiscus flower. So I think I'd have to stop there, because at the end of the process I'm still going to add the pineapple powder, pineapple flavor, which also substitutes the sugar. This drink, I'm going to make sure I'm making it to the extent that I'm not adding sugar to it. It's going to be natural. All I just have to add is the pineapple flavor and the strawberry flavor, just to add a different taste to it. So now I have all the ingredients in the pot. I have my heat from the burner